In a world of divisiveness, we bring
My
you
phone is
diversity.
worse than my camera.
We bring you love. In a world of fear, we inspire you to live. And now, laughing, loving, and alive with your hosts Rain Thomas, Elmer J. Howard, and Dr. Kevin.
Hello, I am Rain Thomas. Am I the only one here today? Oh, Rain's frozen. Dr. Kevin, are you with us?
Hey. I am...
Rain's all frozen.
Wow. Now it's not at least my turn. We are on air.
Yeah, let me see if it's working on Facebook. New software. I'm not seeing it on live. Oh, no. Is it not streaming to Facebook? We can't hear you, Rain, and you're like freezing up.
Okay. Well, we want to welcome you to Laughing, Loving, and Alive as we are trying out some new software tonight, guys, to give you this extra special, fabulous, hyper, laughing, loving, and alive. And as always, when you use new technology, you're having what you're seeing now, which is freezing Rain, frustrated Elmer, and the fabulous Dr. Kevin as always. Oh.
Yeah, I don't see us. I don't see us on Facebook. It said he's streaming out. We lost Rain. It says waiting for live video. Why is it? It says using. Yes, I know you're waiting for live video. We're streaming to live video.
Yes. Hello. So I'm kind of thinking we may need to, I don't know, are we supposed to go on to Zoom at this point? Are we pulling this one out, or what's the story?
If we want to be live, we're probably going to have to switch. I don't know why it's not showing up live on Facebook.
Can you see me?
And hear you.
I can hear you. I can see you.
But we have another issue. It's not streaming to Facebook. It's not streaming to Facebook.
Okay.
Yes. I would keep the show going.
It says
technology. So
the settings are set up. I have the stream, unless the stream URL and the stream name key is wrong somehow, which could be.
So can we keep going and then just keep it recorded and
yeah, we can post it.
Release it.
Post it. It just won't be live on Facebook. We can post it because.
Well, they'll be all right. I'll let everybody know
that we're having technical difficulties, but we are doing a show.
Yes,
we are.
We've been talking about the technical difficulties. We talked about freezing Rain and frustrated Elmer.
And now so
I'm the one and only fabulous Dr. Kevin. Somebody had to keep us laughing, loving, and alive.
I know it. And you know what's funny? We got a lot of people on Instagram, both mine and Laughing Loving, and that were looking forward to hearing about Trouble, but it's okay because then I could just send it out to them and they'll have it forever and ever and ever.
Yep. Well, and he's probably still trying to see if he can get us on live or not. That I haven't given up look on his face, which sometimes can be confused with him sucking on lemon look on his face.
Can you guys still see and hear me?
I can hear you. Again, you've moved to freezing rain and then back to just chilly mist. And
I don't even understand why, because I moved closer to the router.
I wanted you to be on your cellular, not your Wi-Fi.
But I am on my cellular. Hang on, I'm going to switch something. Don't hang up. Just tell me if you can hear and
you could
see me.
Turn off your Wi-Fi on
Let's
your phone.
go. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
No, now you're frozen completely.
Yes.
Seriously?
Well, yeah. I mean, I can hear your voice.
I see you now.
Okay.
I can see you blink. Are you using the Wi-Fi through your phone?
No, not now.
Okay. It seems to be better.
Okay.
You're not freezing. And now we just lost Kevin.
You lost me.
We can hear you, but yeah, it says your video is your degrading internet connection is causing video issues.
But I can see him clearly.
I know.
You can't. On me, on my end, I don't see. I just see a silhouette of a.
Yeah, I see him clearly.
I can see clearly now the rain.
You guys, I found a tutorial, so you guys continue to chat and do the show. I'll do technical duties over here and pipe in when I can.
So there we are, Miss Rain. So do you know why the chickens crossed the basketball court?
Oh boy, this is like the camel in Alaska joke, right? Do I know why the chickens crossed the basketball court?
You know why the chickens crossed the basketball court?
Because they could?
Because the referees kept on calling fouls. Hey, you know,
I love it.
I want to start our laughing, loving, and alive show with a little laughter there.
Well, I'm glad you are. And you know what? I have to tell you, you're pretty good at picking guests. I'm not going to say anything about our guests right now because we're going to just chit chat for a second. And I'm going to ask you the question you always ask me. Did something great happen to you since we last saw each other?
Oh, well, let me see. Well, I had the locks shorn. You might or might not notice.
I did. I love it.
They're a little shorter. They're a little shorter here. They're a little shorter here. I decided to go clean shaven just after months of cutting my own hair through the whole COVID thing. The woman that cuts my hair she's opened back up and she's a one shop, she's the only person in the shop. It's her private little shop. And I finally said, you know what? Everybody told me it looked great, that they couldn't tell I'd been cutting my own hair for like 7 months. But I said, just shave it all off and let it grow back in. It's just hair. And then I thought, I haven't had no beard or no mustache since I've lost like my 75, 80 pounds. I just was like, do I still have cheekbones? Do I, if I took it all off, how would I look? So that was kind of like exciting. My husband was not thrilled. He's like, grow it back.
That's okay. It'll be back before you know it. But didn't you become like I don't know, a big published author again or something, like when you cut everything off?
Wasn't my fourth book out last time? Maybe it wasn't. Well, wait a second. So my fourth book out this year is, I thought I had a copy of it. I do, right here. I might even be able to. So I have 3 of the 4 books that I put out this year right here, so I can actually show them to you. This one is called My Friend Jesus. The channel.
I love it.
Simon Peter.
I love it.
So, and it is all the channel messages, and it's a more accurate translation, rewrite of the 2 books of Peter. The most powerful thing that always stood out to me about that was that in the book of Peter, it says, it has this 1-word, 2-word sentence that says, fear God. And what Simon said when he came through was, what I said was, do not make fear your God.
Right. False idol, right?
Mm-hmm. So there's that. That is out. I have just been meeting. I just had a lengthy conversation yesterday, and we have set a goal of at least 4 new books out in 2021. So I'm going to duplicate 2020, and we've outlined which of my books that are not out are going to come out. One's going to be finished getting written. One's got some major edit because I'm trying to decide. It's a science fiction book I wrote. And I had written it as a choose your own adventure. So you could, like 4 chapters in, you had 3 different plot lines you could follow to take you to the end. And then you had, at the end, you had choices, and 2 of them got your main character killed, and 1 got you through to the end of the story.
So, I'm going to have to get copies of all of those.
And then I also had come out, and I think this was out last time, but Angst, Drama Queens, and Victimhood, a collection of love poetry. And so I thought that was perfect. And if I can actually find, as he is still looking to figure some stuff out, I thought maybe if I could find it very quickly, because I've written so much poetry. I've literally written over 1,000 pieces of poetry.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, that's quite the feat.
So I don't keep any of them in, but I'm gonna see. I've got a little short one, and I want to make sure I get it right if I can find it. I was going to share it with you if you would like.
I would if you have it.
I do have it. I know that it's in this book, and I am somehow not finding it easily. Did it not make it into this book? I guess it. Oh.
Elmer is smiling, so I hope that's good.
So I'm gonna stop the podcast. I think I had a stream URL and key issue. So hopefully this is gonna work. I'm gonna end the podcast, restart it, and see if we go live.
Okay.
Okay.
Hopefully
so
I don't lose
throw away all of this stuff.
I just stopped recording.
Okay.
If not, I'll have to try to figure it out later. So we're trying this again, and I'm not seeing it show up. Yeah, I think I need to get it set up before we get on. I thought I had it set up permanently, but it wasn't showing up.
And do we still have Miss Sheila somewhere?
Oh yeah, she's in the background waiting.
Okay. So, and my last book, well, you're giving that one last one of it is Spirals, a collection of poetry. And so I found something to read you from Spirals. Hi. You ready? I can't hear you. You're on mute. For something. You, yes. I can't hear you.
She keeps having issues with her audio.
Yes. It's a lovely face. She looks. No, I still can't hear you. Oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
This was. Oh, okay.
Well, we're at 10:15. Do we want to wait for Rain to come back in, bring in our guest?
Yeah, we'll bring Rain in.
You mean Sheila?
Well, I was waiting for Rain to come back in and then bring Sheila in. I guess we can bring Sheila in, and you can kick off the Go ahead and bring Miss Sheila in.
Sheila, if you want to start your video, there she is.
Hey there.
Have you done
Hey.
Okay, so every time Elmer does something, this blue bar comes up that says audio is backloaded onto the host dashboard, and then I cut right off.
I stopped the recording is what I did.
And then it's like, then I'm gone.
So,
well, during a show, if it was live like it's supposed to be and working, I wouldn't be stopping it, so you wouldn't be losing your audio.
That's okay. We'll figure it out. Did we bring on Miss Sheila?
she's on.
He's already here.
I'm right here.
Well, that's quite the tan she has.
Yeah.
Can you guys see her?
Yeah, can you hear?
All I see is a black square.
Oh.
You can't see me?
No, but I can hear you clearly.
That's funny. I can see you.
Well, that's good. I see Trouble and I see everybody except for you.
I wonder why.
I don't know. We're working out the kinks.
It's okay.
Trying.
But you can start talking to us to tell us what's going on.
So, I want to introduce Miss Sheila just briefly because I want her to tell her story. But Miss Sheila, you and I go back, 3 radio shows of mine, I think.
Oh, easy. Yeah, easy.
And when this young woman first crossed my path and she told me her story and what she created, that led to the Trouble, the dog, which has helped tens of thousands of people in every kind of trauma you can imagine to move forward, feel safe, be there. And Sheila and I had a relationship at that point of, she'd been on my show a couple of times, she was on my TV show, but before the TV show even, Sheila and I, she really had touched me, not only with her story, but, the love and the energy and her commitment to Trouble. And then, out of nowhere, I ended up having a surprise health issue, which almost killed me. And when Sheila found out, she sent me a Trouble. And as I was in recovery, and I mean, they really were not sure I was going to make it. You were there, Elmer. I was not doing good. This guy was with me all the time. He was
Oh.
And then I gave him a guest role in a movie that I wrote that Elmer produced and directed and blah, blah, blah. And Elmer and Trouble actually had a little guest starring role at the end. So he's a star.
I love it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can. I can see you too.
Yay!
And on that note,
So, remind me, did I meet you at CEO Space or was it through Dr. Kevin?
through me, she's never been to CEO Space.
She's never, okay, I wasn't sure if she was a CEO Space person or not.
Nope. How did we initially meet? I think you actually just reached out to me because of my radio show, didn't you?
I have no idea, but I do know I saw you in Portland years ago. So how long ago was that?
Oh my, Portland. Well, Phoenix, I've been back here 3. I was in Phoenix for 5. So 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Been a long time.
Yeah.
If you still have trouble, that ought to tell you something.
I still have trouble. And I would like you to share with my co-host and all of our viewers and listeners the story of Trouble, because it is the most amazing story in of itself. And then I'm going to let them ask you the questions because I just want to hang out with my Trouble.
Well, before you start, I just want to let you know there are all of these text messages coming in on my phone. Don't you have a watch party? Aren't you interviewing somebody now? Aren't you guys supposed to be live? What's the story about the dog? They're just like blink, blink.
Oh.
So I had to tell them Elmer couldn't get the stuff to work.
But they can watch it afterwards, right?
Absolutely.
See it afterwards.
I'll post
So.
something on Facebook about that now.
Yes, talk about that now, because I'm going to talk to Sheila a little bit. Sheila, we spoke extensively a week ago. I felt like I had known you forever as soon as you picked up the phone.
The same way. Thank you.
And I think it's that whole East Coast, you know, I'm a true New England girl in my heart. And just hearing you is just, that was wonderful. But of course, I did a little research before I called you because, you know, with my background in cancer fundraising and, you know, everything cancer bound, fear, wellness, lack of wellness, and trouble staring at me on Dr. Kevin's head, that I was really excited about having you. He loved you, and I knew that says a lot because they always get me to vet people, and sometimes that doesn't go in the person's favor. So it was nice.
Thank you.
So I don't even know where to start because you've been doing this for how long?
Trouble was first created. My niece created Trouble, drew Trouble, the winter of 2006.
Okay. And I know you told me the story, but kind of attach it so when we post this, they'll know how to get in touch with you, and they'll know how to get in Trouble, and they'll know why Trouble is so important.
Well, what happened that night was we had a number of cancer losses in my family. So my niece was 12. Her name is Kendra. And she had lost her grandmother, her nanny. They were buddies. Her dad, and then our family dog, whose name was Irish, a golden retriever, to cancer. Boom, 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 you know, right in a row. So she was very tuned into that word. So she was at my house one night, and, you know, I had the TV on, excuse me, and she was just drawing, you know, she loves to draw. And the St. Jude Telethon came on, and she looked up, and I'll never forget it. And she said, oh, I have to help those kids. And she just went boom, and she drew this little dog. Then she came on in my office here and came on my computer, and she came back and she said, his name's going to be Trouble and he's going to help kids. And she showed me the drawing. Like, it was like one of those divine downloads you hear about. And he was really cute, you know, really drew you in. But I thought his name's going to be Trouble. And, you know, it was wild. Then she drew a little comic book strip telling a story of an abandoned puppy whose name was Trouble, who was rescued by a nanny who owned a restaurant, which we did as a family. And she brought Trouble into her home. And together, you know, she taught him how to be strong and how to be resilient and how to have hope. And then together, they rescued other puppies that were in trouble. And so that was the beginning of what's happening now, you know? So it's been an unbelievable journey.
Well, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and Dr. Kevin's right. Since that time, you know, I through a neighbor of mine, I met with a gentleman who was a toy manufacturer, toy licensor. And he said, I don't want to have anything to do with a dog named Trouble. Because at that point, we had little coins and we had a comic book. And I finally, he met with me for about 10 minutes. And he's looking at me and he's looking at the comic book and he looked up and he said, you know what? I think you've got something here. And he introduced me to his manufacturer, his Chinese manufacturer, and they were great. And they only talked to me because of him, you know.
Right.
And we got our very first shipment of plush Trouble dogs December 1st, 2007. And I remember because it was 90 degrees that day. And I think of it as like Trouble's energy. You know, I had 1,500 Trouble dogs come into my garage and we were sweating bullets. I'll never forget it. People had to help me, you know. And since then, we've written 3 books, actually. And the newest one, I'm picking up the very first printing of it tomorrow morning, which is
excellent.
Yep. Brand new, hot off the press, literally. So Dr. Kevin's right. With this little comfort toy that we've now had a chance to have made in America, which is a whole nother story, which people love. We've really comforted tens of thousands of kids and grown-ups everywhere, all over the world.
Well, I'm definitely going to get one.
Thank you. All because a little girl wanted to help kids going through a tough time, as she did, you know?
Right.
So.
Right. Well, Sheila, let me ask you this. When you first saw trouble, like physically, when the 1590-degree day came,
Yes,
and all those boxes were coming to you, what did you think?
I thought, from the minute I saw the drawing, to tell you the truth, I thought there was something special. I just couldn't put a handle on it. You know, I just couldn't,
right.
I couldn't explain it. And now I know what's going on is that we call this, we call trouble an angel in disguise, and I realize now that's exactly what he is.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So when you're talking, because, you know, I know you say he's made now in Phoenix, which of course, you know, I do a lot of work with cancer and cancer awareness in Phoenix and in Scottsdale. How can we mesh this? Because once we post this, I'm going to tag, you know, the hospitals and the oncology departments and things of that nature.
Right.
And because they'll want to know if this is a nonprofit, and where do the monies go? Because, you know, that's a question with everybody. Well, and how can it get involved?
Just to clarify for a minute, my company with Trouble the Dog, it's not a nonprofit, okay? We do, which is a whole separate story. We do have a nonprofit, and through that nonprofit, we donate to first responders, okay, for kids in crisis. And we did that because so many people would say, oh my God, can you send Trouble to Freddie? He broke his arm. Can you send, you know, that type of thing. But the whole concept of Trouble the Dog, it's not nonprofit.
Okay, so tell me, what did you said about the first responders? There'll be a lot of first responders listening and watching this, especially in Canada. I have friends that are huge with that.
Yes.
And what does the first responder buy one and keep it in their car or keep it on the EMS?
No, what we do, it's called the Kennek Foundation. It's the Kennek, KENNEK Foundation.org. And what we do is, like, for example, GE. GE every year gives us a donation, and we take that donation and we order Trouble Dogs, and we distribute them to, for example, in this instance, we distribute them to police and fire and DCF in Lynn, Massachusetts. Okay. And we do all of that at our cost. So we order the Trouble Dogs and Trouble Books, and we distribute them, and then the first responders keep Trouble, you know, in their cruisers. So if a child is, they've been in an accident or whatever it happens to be, then they bring them a Trouble Dog. So it's so powerful that, for example, the other day I had a police officer reach out to me personally, and he said, I would like to buy a Trouble Dog. And I said, well, because I thought maybe it was going to be a gift for a child or something. He said, a little girl got hit by a car the other day, and I had utilized Trouble in the past, so I wanted to get another one. And I said, well, I happen to have a couple of Kennek dogs here. So I met him and gave him a Trouble. And then he posted on Facebook the picture of the little girl. It was just great. So Trouble's doing good in all different kinds of ways, you know.
I love it. I saw and again, I went back to some of Dr. Kevin's stuff and, you know, looked at stuff that was archived and saw the inspiration and beauty of what you do. And obviously, I love what you do. And of course, I love, you know, what those guys are doing, because I see smoke coming out of Elmer's head as he's working up there. And Dr. Kevin, you know, he'll have some good questions and claring. So before he asks his next question, what I want to know is, when I know you said like Massachusetts is big for trouble. Yes, trouble. I know. I know. So how do other first responders get involved? Like I'm here on the West Coast, and does someone make a donation on their behalf? And
Yes.
Okay.
Let's say, for example, let's say there was a company in Las Vegas that wanted to support the Las Vegas Police Department. That they could do, the easiest thing for them to do would be them to call me. We can talk about it. They can make a donation, right, which is tax deductible, and I would make arrangements to have trouble delivered to a representative of the company who could then bring it to the police department in Vegas. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's so powerful that there's an officer in Hampton, Virginia. And he's been on television talking about the power of trouble. Nothing to do with me. He did it on his own. And he has an office just full of trouble dogs, just waiting for the next child that needs them. So Dr. Kevin knows there's a magic to this little puppy it's tough to explain. And divinely inspired is the only way I can explain it. Because you've had your trouble for how long?
Oh, I've had trouble now 6-7 years.
Yep.
2013, 7 years.
There you go.
And in fact, that's the earliest email exchange I could find from us. But clearly, you had already been on the show a couple of times. And
right.
I mean, whatever happened to the emails before that, I don't know. But because I was just curious. So while she was asking you questions, I looked and I was like, I can only get back to 2013, but I know we go farther back than that. Because you were still in your first or second batch of troubles when I met you.
But you have an American trouble, right? Your trouble was made in America. I'm almost positive.
Yep.
See?
Mine was made in America. Yep, because I handcrafted in the USA. Because we knew each other for probably 5, 6, 7 years when I got sick. You'd already been on my show multiple times.
Right, exactly.
Because every now and then I'd be, either Sheila would send me an email or I'd just get a wild hair and I'd go, so anything new with trouble? Give me an excuse to put you back on my radio show, Sheila.
Right. There's always something new with trouble, I'll tell you.
Well, I have to tell you that one of the earliest stories, and I'd like you to tell the story, and I love it when you share a little bit of like some of the trouble, like his signature commentary, the things that he says and stuff like that, because I think that is so powerful as well, is when you, and this was really early on, but I always remember the story, but I want you to tell it, but the one when you went in for the guys that kind of come back from the service and they all had the wounds that were that story.
That was before our foundation, and a friend of mine is from Baltimore, Maryland. She lives outside of Maryland, and through her we got connected to a soldier who was really had some terrible injuries. He lost an arm, he lost a leg, and he was at Walter Reed Army Hospital. So we made arrangements. Some people purchased trouble dogs. We had 2 big, huge yellow trash bags full of trouble dogs, and down we go to Walter Reed. And the reaction on the way in, actually, this boy's aunt stopped and she said, "Oh, I don't know how this is going to go with these soldiers, bringing stuffed animals to these soldiers. I mean, how's it going to go?" And their reaction, it was a life-changing day for me, would bring tears to your eyes. They got it immediately. And these are guys that, just had just horrific injuries. And a lot of them said, "You know what, this is going to give me a chance to read this," because we gave them trouble books too. "It's going to give me a chance to read this book with my children and let them understand that, everybody has trouble, but there's always hope and you can always work through it." you know? So yeah, that was a life changer for me. One of many.
I remember you talking the first time because I think I interviewed you not too long after it happened in one of your shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was a radio show. There was no visual at the time.
Yeah.
The emotion in her voice as she's telling, I can hear tears in her eyes. She's talking about how
it was unbelievable.
And she gave it to this guy, and he just looked. And I remember you going, and he just kind of like took the dog and he just held it, and it was just it was like he'd been almost non-responsive to talk to anyone else. He'd been very shut down. He had just been completely stone-faced because, you know, he had lost limbs. He was this 23, 24-year-old kid.
Oh, wow.
You know, and out
young.
At some war in some part of the world we probably shouldn't have been involved with. Oops, I didn't say that. And, but that, you know, and I just, it still makes my heart when I do this is we're never too old to need a stuffed animal to cuddle.
You're right. You know, there are a lot of Marines that sleep with Trouble the dog, and that's a fact.
There's a lot of Marines that just sleep with Trouble. Oh,
right.
Sorry.
Or a dog.
Or a dog.
I see we're getting off course as normal.
You know, there's also a story I should tell you about the magic of Trouble that also brings tears to my eyes in a different way. There's on our website, there's a story, which I think I told you, Rain, about a little boy. He's 8 years old, and he was adopted through foster care, had a really tough start in life. And I ran into his mother. I was doing an event at Christmas time, and I ran into his mother, and she said, "Oh, Trouble the dog, I've got to tell you. When my son was adopted, so he was 3, I think, when they adopted him, and his social worker or whoever gave him a Trouble dog and a couple of books." She said, so let's say that 5 years, fast forward 5 years, he's still sleeping with Trouble and he's still talking to Trouble. And he said, Trouble talks back to him. And he's so, what am I trying to say? It's been such a huge help that this family, he's made it his mission to get Trouble to other kids that are still in foster care. And I want to say they've purchased, I think they're on the 145th dog at this point.
Wow.
Yep. And it's because he wants to comfort other kids. And he says things like, "Oh, Trouble kept me awake all night last night talking to me." Or he'll say, "Trouble knew I was nervous about whatever, and he told me not to worry." And I could go on and on and on. So it just, anytime I might think, oh, what am I going to do next? Or I hear another story about the magic that's going on. It's much bigger than me.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I just want to say this lady deserves so much credit because she was so early on in the process. I think you had only got your first shipment maybe or early on.
Yeah.
And you and I would talk because you were like, I know I'm supposed to do this, but at that point there wasn't a lot of the money there and where am I supposed to go with it? And she won't tell you this, but I remember her talking to me about, if somebody's really in need, if they can't afford it, she would just give the Trouble away.
Oh, yeah.
And eat it. And she's like, I'll never make any money doing this. But how this is a woman who doesn't wear her heart on her sleeve. Her heart is her whole self.
Thank you.
And all of these people would never have been helped if it hadn't been that this woman right here has such a fabulous giving heart.
Thank you. I'll tell you, to me, kids, the kids inspire me. And the kids are telling me, and they've been telling me now for a while, Trouble needs to be a cartoon. Trouble needs to be his own cartoon series because then he can talk to all the kids, He can talk to kids that maybe they come home from school, but maybe there's not a loving family there to talk to them, or maybe they're in a hospital bed, or maybe they're in a shelter or wherever. So I'm really gonna push and see what I can do to turn Trouble into a cartoon somehow. Just connect with a person who has the right heart, the right connection to see that there's money absolutely that can be made, but Trouble's a unique concept that I think the time is now. I think it's Trouble time now.
Can you share some of the Troubleisms, and then I'll give it back to Rain?
No, go for it.
But some of the things that Trouble tells people, some of the Troubleisms.
You mean like some of the situations Trouble's been in?
Yeah.
Well, Trouble is, parents tell me that when their kids have night terrors, Trouble stops them in their tracks. Trouble's in nursing homes, and the elderly say he helps them pull the bell, for the nurse or whatever. He's in hospitals. He's on Zoom, when kids can't go to school. And then sometimes when they do parades, when they do car caravans, he's sticking out of the roof of the cars to greet the kids.
But Sheila, you had some stuff that Trouble used to say to kids, like the Trouble quotes. Trouble's actually.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, yes, Trouble has his own sayings, and one of them is, "Where there's trouble, there's hope." One is, Trouble says, "Be tough." Another is, "When trouble comes, you're never alone." What else am I forgetting?
Well, those are.
That's the gist of them.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
But just the kind of the message, when trouble comes, you're never alone. That's
right.
Such a powerful message for people to, because oftentimes when trouble comes into somebody's life, a lot of people have a tendency to they withdraw instead of looking out to see who can help them. I mean, you have some people that live, that constantly seem to live in trouble and live in need, and that's a whole different story. But a lot of people, when trouble is going on in their lives, they tend to isolate, almost like, you don't want to bother anyone. And that's why I always love that, when, that whole idea of the different things that Trouble says. And I have the Trouble book somewhere, and I didn't dig it out in time, but I know there's the book that goes with it as well.
Well, this book, which is Where There's Trouble, There's Hope. Yep. This is our second book. And the third book, I can't tell you too much about, but I will tell you that the newest character, which I think Dr. Kevin's going to like, is only about this big, okay? This big. And what he does is he lands on Trouble's nose, and he's a little spirit guide. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yes, see, I told you. He's a spirit guide because, every once in a while, Trouble gets into trouble himself. Which someone said to me just the other day, ooh, it makes him even more human. So.
Absolutely. Elmer, you have anything? I know we always like to leave you out.
No, not this time. I'm focused on technical issues. And I've been listening. I've known about Trouble since Kevin's known about Trouble, and we put Trouble in the film. The character at the end, she's actually holding Trouble, so you can see Trouble quite well. I didn't think about it. I could have put Trouble. There was a scene I could have used Trouble in my last movie, but I don't have one.
Yeah.
I had to get
See,
and that was in Phoenix.
No, I meant the King and Queens movie. I could have used Trouble.
Oh, I thought you meant the one that I was in. That other movie doesn't exist to me now that I couldn't be in it. I just.
Oh, that could have worked too. We could have had Trouble with Eric on the couch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Sheila, I want to know, I want to get a Trouble. I'm going to get a Trouble. But someone wants to get a trouble, they see this, they say, hey, Rain, I want to get one. How, because you know, sometimes when things are spiritual, and Dr. Kevin, you can probably agree with this, sometimes people don't want to get it from like the factory. They want someone who has touched it or, you know, has caressed it. They want to make sure it didn't come out of God knows where. So what do I tell people when they say, well, I want one?
All they need to do is they can go to troublethedog.com, and there's a link right there. They can buy the book, they can buy the dog, you know, whatever. And it's through PayPal. It's quick and easy, and then we ship them right out here from Marblehead.
Okay,
So,
excellent. Do they come with a note?
No, they're just a little card. But what we ask people to do is, let's say someone decided that, let's say you had a friend that had a child that wasn't sleeping or something.
Okay.
There'll be a spot where you could ask me to put a note in with the dog that would say, I hope Poppy sleeps well tonight with Trouble or something. And we can do that. And there's also a link. If someone decided that they wanted to send Trouble to a foster child, we can do that too. Because there are, you know, kids, they're really struggling today.
Yeah. So are adults. It's quite the situation
true.
Right now.
Yes, exactly. And people are also sending Trouble to adults as well. So
I'm thinking about my Christmas list.
Yes. Yeah. And as I say, people love the fact that he's made in America, which is, you know, I mean, Trouble's $39.95. So, you know, it's more than someone would pay for a stuffed animal from overseas at Walmart or something like that. But he's keepsake quality, you know, all, well, you can see, all hand done. His face is all hand sewn, see?
Look, I've got two of them to look at. You're just going to make me get one.
Do it once. So Dr. Kevin's is, what did we just say? You've had him since 2013, so he holds up well.
He's very cute. I'm definitely going to have to get one because, you know, I just to support because, you know, that's what we do. But since it is in Phoenix, next time I go there, I'm going to make it a point to stop in.
Yes. It's the American Bear Factory. And I cannot say enough. The woman that owns the factory, she's just been a dream to work with. You know, I mean, she really listened to me, and she's just, we have a very, very good relationship.
Good, because I want my Trouble to be special. I want my Trouble to have something special that nobody else's Trouble has, Dr. Kevin.
You know, the other thing too is that sometimes kids, like if I'm at an event, let's say, there'll be Trouble all lined up on a table, and kids zoom in right on a particular dog because, you know, because they're hand done. You know, if you look at 6 of them, they look the same from a distance, but you go closely and they pick out that dog, and that's the end of it.
And he only comes in gray, right?
Yes. And interestingly, when I talked to my niece, I said, so, honey, what color's Trouble going to be? White? Nope. He's going to be gray. And I thought, gray? You know, would you have a gray stuffed animal? Yep. Going to be gray. And you know why? The kids love it because he can be anything.
Right.
Some kids say he's a girl. You know, if you want him to be a girl, he can be a girl. If you want him to be Spanish, he can be Spanish. It doesn't matter. He can be Irish. It doesn't matter.
Well, Irish and Trouble, that kind of goes hand in hand anyway, right? Here we go again.
He can be. Oh. You know, the other thing she told me just the other day, if you want to talk about divine downloads, she said, you know, I can't believe I named him Trouble. She said, I would never name him Trouble today. So it was like, whoosh, you know?
Yeah, the timing.
It was bigger than her too.
The other thing is that, you know, because this does get posted out, and usually we have lots of people coming in and contacting, but we had a little technical blah blah tonight. But The other thing is, if they again would, and we'll make sure we post a link to it to the Kennek Foundation.
It would be Kennek, Kennek, and you know, it's probably better to post it on Trouble the Dog, and then I can talk about it on Kennek, because sometimes, like, you can't purchase a Trouble Dog through Kennek.
No.
And sometimes people, they get confused. So I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to not confuse anybody.
But what I want people to think of is, you know, we've got the holidays coming up.
Yeah.
And there are groups and organizations and people who like to do something for, you know, groups that are, you know, separated out, whether it's kids that are at a children's hospital or whether it's people that are in adoption or, you know, things like this, or even people with disabilities, certain kinds of disabilities or things like this. I mean, there are groups that people sponsor, and sometimes they just write a check and that helps the overall functioning of the organization. It doesn't necessarily put anything in their hands.
Correct.
Like a trouble.
Yeah.
And that's why, so, you know, guys, if you are part of an organization that always tries to do something in the community, you're looking to do something special this year, something different, something that could help, especially in these times when there's been so much isolation and so many people have been struggling with so many different things. And trouble is good for anxiety, for stress, for depression, for isolation. You know, just kind of cuddling up, just cuddling up with my trouble. And reach out through Trouble the Dog to Sheila and say, hey. My organization always does X, and we'd like to buy X number, or this is our budget, and how many troubles could we get, and can we have it delivered to this place?
Right. And you know what? If people call me, because you know I'm as near as your phone, and if people call me, they can call me at 781-631-0887, and we can have a conversation. And it's much easier for me than to do it via email, because then we can figure it out right in the spot. You know, for example, we have a real estate broker who's wonderful, Willow Beach Real Estate, and she purchases Trouble Dogs to be delivered to the Hampton Police Department. And I have a relationship with her now. So I ship them right from Phoenix to Virginia. You know?
Excellent.
And they go right to the police. So yeah, there's all kinds of things we can do.
Yep. And
I want to make sure I'm involved somehow.
And I think the most important thing of all is that, and the thing that warms my heart the most is that kids say to me, you know, Trouble has an energy and I can feel it. And when I hug Trouble, he makes me feel safe and he makes me feel better. So that's what it's all about.
I love that. It just, when I saw your story about Trouble and Dr. Kevin told me and all of that, when I was small, remember when you got the Ronald McDonald and you had to cut it out and stuff it yourself?
Oh, no, I never did.
Fabric. Oh, what was the Ronald McDonald? And you had it was when people made their own dolls and you stitched it and then you turned it inside out before you finished it and you stuffed it with cotton. So I did that years and years and years and years ago. And he'd started falling apart piece by piece here, piece there, and I'd sew him back together. But I knew that my secrets were safe with him.
See, there you go.
You know,
it's funny you bring that up, because if you think about Trouble the Dog and the Kennek Foundation on a much smaller scale at this time, Trouble the Dog is like McDonald's, and the Kennek Foundation is like Ronald McDonald, and Trouble is the ambassador for the Kennek Foundation. That's the easiest way to think about it. So,
well, I'm going to link it to the hospitals in Phoenix and Scottsdale, and you and I will talk about that.
Yes,
a little later on.
Yeah. Trouble, I think I told you, he's on the wall with the real therapy dogs at Shriners Hospital in Springfield. Yep, he's right up there. So that should tell you something.
Yeah, yeah. And again, now, it's next month is Breast Cancer Awareness, October. And every year I ask for donations and I ask people to donate things in kind.
Yeah.
And for that month through December, I wrap everything up and send them anonymously to children whose parents are going through cancer while the holidays are through. So that would be a nice thing to just kind of pop up for a kid or an adult.
Exactly. And Dr. Kevin's a perfect example. They hang on to trouble. You know,
of course.
Our latest book, and the name of it is Troubles and Trouble is the name of the book. And it's introducing Clarence and Orb with an edge, we call them. Well, the illustrator that helped me with that book, and she did a spectacular job, her daughter has had trouble. Well, she's 14. She's had them, I think, since she was like 6 years old. So,
I have someone, a lot of people come to mind. So you and I will chat about that.
You know how to find me.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. Are we at 4 minutes, Elmer?
3 minutes left.
All right. Any parting questions or salutations or love hugs or any of that stuff?
Well, Sheila, as always, we'll stay in touch. I still have the Dr. Kevin show, which I've had, I don't know, 14 years now. And there is we had, and you also came on the TV show.
I did. Yes, I came to New Hampshire. Yep.
And so, and you were also at my expo because I donated a booth to Trouble so you could help get him out there.
Yes, you did. And I had 3 Irish mediums come and buy Trouble and bring them back over to Ireland.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So, we'll see about getting you on my other show sometime, in a few months. We'll get you back on.
Okay.
When the new book is out, let me know because I'll have you on right after that so we can promote you there.
Well, the new book, it's up on our website. I'm going to pick them up tomorrow, but we haven't done any press about it or anything yet,
Okay. Well, you can always count on me to help with that.
Thank you very much, because I think you're going to really like this one.
Okay. I look forward to it.
Okay. And thank you all for having me. I'm very grateful.
Thank you, Sheila.
Great. Don't go anywhere. I loved having you on there. Elmer, Dr. Kevin, you know how much I love you guys. I just want to tell you, our next guest in 2 weeks is a young lady who found out that she had metastatic breast cancer. I think she wasn't even 25. And then a week later, she found out that she was going blind for some kind of macula or something. But she's a New York City girl. She doesn't let it stop her. And you're talking about someone who gets out there, gets the word out, and she fights for everybody. So I'm glad you're on first before Jessica Semmel comes on, because I'm going to talk to her about Trouble because she's in New York, and maybe you all can get together and do something because she has a little boy, and we can maybe get something done because she's really active in the community.
Yeah, she must be amazing.
She is. And the fact that she says every time she goes outside, she can tell she can see less and less, but it doesn't stop her because she still goes out there and she makes things happen. So you'll love her. I'll connect you as well.
I would love
that's all for me.
And
yes.
And hopefully next week I'll figure this out. So we'll be 2 weeks, October 11th, we'll be live on Facebook. But this was a good show. Obviously, I guess people weren't meant to see this one live for some reason. Maybe we're going to have more viewers where it was recorded, so more people can hear about Trouble. But thank you,
excellent.
And I'm going to play us out.
Very much. Trouble loves to dance. Just so you know.